Hello there folks, I'm Dan Brown from asortofinterestinglife.com and today we're back in the kitchen to test my incredible in-depth cookery skills. Before we do that, we'll just have a quick look at my general route out to get some ingredients. As some of you may know, I don't have a fridge on board, so any fresh items I like to buy at the absolute last minute, which in a case like today has led me to do a 7-mile round trip walk out to Ellesmere and back to get a salad pack and a little bit of fruit, that sort of thing. So obviously buying at the absolute last minute, it keeps them all nice and fresh. Anyway, we'll just have a quick look at some nice fields and scenery. I absolutely love getting in amongst all the crops. Anyway, we've got a fair old few fields to go still. When I talk about how rural the canal is out on the Llangollen, I can never really do it true full justice as to how utterly rural it really is, but when you look at places like this and say this is just walking minutes away from the canal and taking shortcuts across, well, items such as the Shropshire Way, a massive path in all, but just cutting onto little bits of it here and there to get to the shops and back, absolutely fantastic. Anyway, if we get back here, I will say first of all, before we go any further, if you hear any random gunshot, yes, gunshot, in the background of this video, do not be alarmed. It is just an automated scarecrow device on one of the farms somewhere in one of these fields nearby. And yeah, let's dive in and have a look at the ingredients. As usual, tonight we are going to be keeping it nice and simple. We've got tortilla wraps. These are chili and jalapeno ones. A salad pack. So that makes up our nice salad wraps. Lovely stuff, as usual. Then what we're also going to have is a nice plate full of good old fusilli, basically pasta, and we've got tomato and red pepper pasta sauce. I've got a chilli sauce which I want to use as a pasta sauce, but not mixed with these because just these wraps themselves, or tortillas, are quite hot themselves. Then for pudding, we're keeping it nice and healthy. Greek style yoghurt and a little mixture of general fruit. Got kiwi, watermelon and strawberries. God, that was testing my knowledge of fruit then, having difficulty remembering strawberries. And as a nice drink, orange and carrot juice. Absolutely love this stuff, really do enjoy this. 2 for £2 at the minute, so well in there. Now, I think what I'm going to do first, controversially, is sort out the pudding. Now, just as you can see, we've got far more fruit than actual yoghurt. But I just really want to, that could be a useful little spoon fork thing to have. Just want to cut these down a little bit with this massive serrated knife. Please be sensible when you're cutting little things. As you can tell, I am once again in no way, shape or form any kind of a quality chef. I just like nice simple food that I can put together nice and easily. And I'm quite sure that the fact that I've struggled to even just pick up that strawberry off the chopping board sums up my general skills and abilities. But I just want these a little smaller, just more general spoon sized, rather than picking up one giant strawberry that's obviously going to be covered in yoghurt. And also this is giving it a good chance to get rid of some of the general juices that will be milling around in that tub. So I think we shall leave that little bit in there and just eat that as it is. Got a nice little mixture chopped up there. And if we pop that open with a minor explosion, then let's dive right in. We've got a boat about to pass us now, so once again everybody, this is the time to hold on nice and tight. Okay, so I'm glad that I've put that together first, because that is a huge amount of weight first of all, and a bowl absolutely full to the top of stuff to eat. So now that I know that that's what's for pudding, I think I'll put a little bit less pasta in than I was intended. If we just stick ourselves a nice little tortilla, these ones are only small ones, not like the other ones that I normally have for taking out and about with me. But I think we'll have one as the base to put the pasta on. Probably a second one to just generally enjoy as something to throw a little bit of pasta into as well. And also this one, we shall use some of this salad to make our wrap. Right, we'll keep it nice and simple with just one wrap. Now, as you may know, if you've seen my previous cooking video, which seems to go down quite well, I'm not any good at making these things at all. So what I do is basically cram as much stuff as I can in them. I think that might be a little bit too much. Roll them up in general and then wedge them in place so that when I come to eat it, it's still locked in position there. Anyway, I'm going to tuck into a bit of this, I think, and we should actually get this pasta on the go, I suppose. Now, given that we're going to be boiling water, we've got all of the windows open on the inside and the blind up and open on the cooker side, so obviously that's the towpath side, giving us that incredible view out to the hedge about 6 foot away. But also, we should also remember that we want the back door open. Lock that in place. If we just step up here, this is our general surroundings tonight. Had a little bit of rain today. It started out in one of those perfect sunny days and it was so hot that I was bitterly regretting almost wearing any clothes at all. Oh dear me. Anyway, back on track. As you can see, it certainly looks like there's a lot of rain about at the minute. Once again, these are the surroundings that I'm not too unhappy with at all to spend a night or two in. And in fact, it's actually looking like we've somehow managed to miss the rain, even though it is in almost every direction around us. Right then, let's get back inside because this isn't getting tea cooked. Now, it may well come as absolutely no surprise to you that I'm not the world's biggest fan of measuring everything absolutely perfectly. So we're just going to throw a bit in. Like I say, now that I've got that massive pudding to eat, I'm not too sure how much of this I'm really going to want. Only thing I know is that I'm going to put an awful lot of the red pepper and tomato sauce in because there's nothing worse than having plain old pasta. Noodles, on the other hand, I could eat all day with nothing on them. So there you go. That, once it's all swelled up with the water, could even be a little bit too much. Anyway, let's get a bit of water thrown in. A little bit of salt as well I normally put in. I'm not going to be going wild with my mixed herbs today. I think we can afford a little bit more water. So you may notice I'm using Avian here. Wow, posh water for me today. There, let's see how this goes. Definitely want the lid on to try and minimise the condensation here. Now, while that's cooking, you may well have noticed that the pan itself is all scraped, and yes, I know that it's no good for me eating all that random little bits of paintwork or whatever it is that's chipped off. Don't worry, I do have some stainless steel pans inbound, so hopefully that will let you sleep a little better at night. Yeah, now we play the waiting game. And the waiting game means basically me talking to you on the camera for goodness knows how long, and then realising most of what I recorded is absolute nonsense and deleting it all or skipping ahead. So, what's been going on recently? Well, you may have been tuned in for my general little boat trip commentary where I was talking about stopping at Chirk Marina, and I even went in there and said, yeah, I'd love to come in and stop, and then the next day I'd had a change of heart, so I had to go in with me tail between me legs and say, oh yeah, sorry, I'm not... I don't know if you heard that gunshot then. That's not what I said to him at the marina, I want to point out. But basically, I thought, yeah, I want to stay out and move along a little bit and enjoy more of the canal in the actual summertime, being out and about on the cut. Then immediately I basically had the thing of, yeah, it's good to be out on the canal, and I started travelling down, and today on my trip along to Ellesmere I've checked at 2 other marinas. I knew that Ellesmere was all fully booked, but the other 2 marinas that are just basically sort of moorings on the side of canal are also both completely full. So after I've had this change of heart for a second time of being like, you know what, I do actually want to just spend a month or so, not necessarily crammed in a marina all of that time, but just not really having to worry about moving or any great journeys while it's busy on the canal. So now I've ended up walking away from Chirk Marina only to find that the next 3 marinas along the canal are all fully booked. So I'm not really entirely certain of my plan at the moment. Might treat myself to a little holiday and go back down to Montgomery, you know. Or I might belt it right the way back down to Whitchurch. Who knows, who knows. But sooner or later, I promise I am going to show you a lift bridge and going through it on your own on a boat. Here we have our ready to add flavour to pasta. So we've just got to strain that water out. Lovely stuff. And now, as you can possibly see all of the steam rising from all this, this is why we definitely want the windows open and the door open to try and get rid of as much of the condensation as possible. Right, that's looking quite nice. I absolutely love that smell. Oh, we've lost a piece. I absolutely love the smell of the pasta as it's at this stage. Like, not quite full of flavour, but certainly not utterly plain. Now it's time for the final part, to add the old tomato and red pepper sauce. Pop that open. Spoon in a load of that. Be very careful because that hob is still on. Let's just get plenty of this in there, I think. As I say, nothing worse than plain old pasta. Excellent. Right, wooden spoons at the ready, people. This is it. This is the last home stretch to get this piping hot and as much of this stirred in and mixed up as possible. Always going to be time for a little bit more to be added too. If you're wondering what I do with the rest of that salad bag, particularly on a day like today where I haven't actually used much of it for my tea, then later on I shall make it into a few more salad wraps, then wrap those up in kitchen foil, and when I head off on some sort of adventure tomorrow, that will also be my dinner for the next day. Oh, I tell you what, that at the end of the day, absolutely perfect. This is also an insight if anybody is interested in what I do with all this free time that I have. Then basically, if I'm not writing or doing videos, then just doing these little walks to get me a tea for that night. I mean, this afternoon, I'm not sure what time it was that I set out, but if you consider that I cut across the fields and that was a nice little shortcut on the way out to Ellesmere, then walked about, I don't know exactly how many miles, but call it 7 for argument's sake. That's probably been a good 2.5, maybe 3 hour trip. No great rush. Stopped, saw a heron and a few little bits, a couple of little creatures milling around as I was walking down the towpath and jumping and diving into the water. There's a lot of sort of reedy sides and not the standard metal corrugated side on some parts. So that obviously gives you a nice little habitat for these little creatures to get into. Right then, I think I'm just going to turn the heat up, make this as piping hot as possible, and you know what, this smells as if it might be a little bit spicy, a little bit hot, in every sense of the word, I suppose. Out comes our pasta. Just about right, just about the amount that I would have chosen. It may not be much, it may not be the finest cuisine in the world, but with my recent obsession with salad, certainly over the last, well really since the start of this year, I've been eating more salad and getting these little salad bags more than ever. And well, as I've said in my latest book, Narrowboat and a Notebook, that's not really a shameless plug, it is relevant what I'm about to say. As I say in that, my obsession with salad packs and things like this recently, especially when it comes to yoghurt and fruit and stuff, well, I've got a horrible feeling that it's a sure sign that I'm getting old and I'm growing up. Now that is a worrying sign if ever I saw one. One last thing, almost forgot. Need to obviously give ourselves a nice little drink. So, as we pour the old orange and carrot juice out, I'll say thank you very much for watching. Check out my other videos. Feel free to subscribe. There's plenty more narrowboat videos and proper boat life videos, all sorts of scenery in general, things like that. A lot of outdoorsy stuff, camping and walking and kayaking. And as always, feel free to add me personally on Facebook and Twitter. It's fantastic, some of the messages that I've been getting recently. If I pop the camera up, we can have a close-up look. You know what, I don't think that's turned out too badly at all. So, as I say, thank you very much for watching. Subscribe, check out my other videos, and feel free to check out my books, The Narrowboat Lad and A Narrowboat and a Notebook, just released. Seems to have had quite a good response, and once again, thank you very much for all the messages. Until the next time, have a fantastic day, keep it edible, and farewell.